University is fined £585,000 for failing to uphold free speech. Why? Are they finally getting cracked down on for oppressing the free speech of anyone to the right of Stalin? Anyone who's not a complete far-left lunatic? Is it finally coming back to bite them? Nah, this is just another one of those Transformers versus turf situations. So it's a friendly fire incident. So after feminazi professor Kathleen Stock was hounded out of work by Transformer activists. So no, it has nothing to do with all the bullshit they've been pulling against conservatives all this time. Nope, it's just Transformers versus turfs. And now suddenly free speech is important. Now it's not hate speech anymore. So the university has been fined £585,000 for its failure to uphold free speech after feminazi professor Kathleen Stock was hounded out over her belief in biological sex. Well, she is trying to oppress our stunning and brave Whammons Plus sisters, so well earned, I guess. And the University of Sussex was handed a penalty by the Higher Indoctrination Regulator, the Office for Students, which criticized its policy statement of transformer and non-binary equality. It comes after Professor Stock, 53, had been canceled and forced to leave the university in current year -4 when she was accused of transphobia. Well, why is it so hard to just be a decent person? Just don't be transphobic, you bigot. Now, her offenses include stating in current year -5 that the claim that trans Whammons are fiction and not literally true, and spaces where Whammons undress and sleep should remain genuinely single sex in order to protect them. If a right-winger said this, they'd get canceled and the feminazis would cheer. When a feminazi says it, it's a problem now? Okay. No, the offs said Sussex's requirements to positively represent transformer people and the assertion that transphobic propaganda would not be tolerated could lead the staff and students to self-censor. Now go after hate speech in general. Now, the fine issued is the largest ever given to university, though Sussex has vowed to challenge the offs findings legally. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Sasha Rosenil, told the Big Black Cock. It described the judgment as unreasonably absolutist definition of free speech. That's the only definition of free speech, because if you're not a free speech absolutist, you don't support free speech. There is no free speech, but... So in Stony Word's statement, warning that the ruling left institutions facing opposing and irreconcilable duties to which render them powerless to prevent abusive bullying and harassing speech. So that's somehow better than them always taking one side over the other while trying to claim to be impartial. I say let them fight, and eventually natural selection is going to dictate a winner. And let me just tell you this, spoiler alert, the winner is not going to be the one that needs some higher power to enforce their ideas on everyone else. So the office was given the power in January to issue fines where freedom of speech was not upheld at a university. Or at the very least, they should lose their public funding. Indoctrination Secretary Bridget Phillipson supported the ruling, saying free speech and academic freedom were non-negotiables in universities, unless it's the right-wingers that are losing theirs. Then it's okay. So she explained, if you go to university, you must be prepared to have your views challenged, to hear contrary opinions, be exposed to uncomfortable truths. So literally the exact opposite of what we have in universities nowadays. They're all fucking safe space hug box echo chambers now. Now we are giving the offs the stronger powers on freedom of speech, so students and academics are not muzzled by the chilling effects demonstrated in this case. Arif Ahmed, the off's director of freedom of speech and academic freedom, said the decision to fine the university had followed a thorough investigation. He said it found existing policy meant staff feared disciplinary action. Professor Stock had changed the way she taught her course as a result. So what we've all been saying for years, you're finally catching up. That's nice of you. Mr. Ahmed added the office was concerned that the chilling effect may have caused many students and academics at the university to self-censor. That's exactly, they do it on purpose. The regulator said the Transformers non-binary equality policy statement issued by the University of Sussex was considered the context of existing legal duties on freedom of speech, as well as the European Convention on Human Rights. 4 elements of the policy were found to be concerning. Not the whole thing, because you would think the whole thing would be. These included a requirement for course materials to positively represent Transformer people and Transformers' lives, and the assertion that transphobic agenda would not, or propaganda would not be tolerated. Because of this, we now have a situation where all of these regards are shocked. Like, they're legitimately shocked to find out everyone hated them now. Because they forced everyone to censor. Everyone has always hated them, but they weren't allowed to say it because they'd get canceled if they did. But now that in a lot of places, people are free to express their displeasure with certain groups again. Yeah, you got corporations dropping the virtue signaling. You got communities banning them. You got individual people being openly hostile to them. And a lot of these regards are legitimately confused and surprised by this. What? We thought everyone liked us. Yeah, that's because you punished everyone who spoke out against you. So everyone just kept their mouth shut and waited. So another aspect of the policy highlighted that transphobic abuse would be a serious disciplinary offense for staff and students. The office also took a general look at the management and governance of the university around freedom of speech. If it's a left-wing talking point, it's okay. Otherwise, censor it. Since being hounded from the university in current year -4, Professor Stock has been continually pilloried over her views amid claims she is transphobic and trans exclusionary for opposing gender identification and saying biological sex is real. The only reason anyone cares is because she's also a far-left feminazi. She probably agrees with every other, agrees with these psychos on every other issue, except for the Transformer issue. And now our side will claim her as one of ours and say she's based. Professor Stock faced protests on the campus after publishing a book on gender identity and an experience she told the Big Black Cock was like a surreal anxiety dream. She resigned from her position at the university in current year -4. Probably after she made bank on her book, I guess. That probably was a lot of advertising. In May of current year -2, she faced a rally led by angry Transformer activists as she gave a talk at prestigious Oxford University debating society. Yeah, well, now you know what it's like to be a right-winger. I bet you supported all this shit until it turned on you, though, didn't you? And hundreds of rioters chanted and played loud music to try to drown out the academic. While inside the chamber, her address was crashed by anti-royal Transformer activist Riz Posnet, who glued their self to the floor as others ranted about no more dead Transformer kids. The second they start gluing each other to things, we should just leave them there. Move to a different classroom for the lecture and just leave them there. Sussex's Professor Rosenneal has blamed the culture wars and libertarian free speech absolutism for the judgment. So, free speech. She said the office's findings mean that it's now virtually impossible for universities to prevent abuse, harassment, or bullying on our campuses. Now, notice what they're doing here. This is textbook far leftist tactics. They've done this for decades. They label themselves as good people fighting against abuse, harassment, and bullying. They put it into law, even in some cases, that abuse, harassment, and bullying is illegal. And then they start labeling everything their opposition does as abuse, harassment, and bullying. That's all this is. And then the worst part is they are guilty of most of the abuse, harassment, and bullying. Like that one senator or representative in Texas, a kind and tolerant Democrat calling Governor Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. Nothing happened to her, at least not yet. If it was a Republican saying that to a Democrat, though, just nonstop media attention on how hateful that was. When a Democrat does it, though, no, it's fine. It's okay. Let's just pretend this didn't happen. Just ignore this story. So it means universities cannot protect groups subject to harmful propaganda or determine that stereotyped assumptions should not be relied upon in the university curriculum. While they are perfectly fine flinging harmful propaganda against white men and stereotypes about white men, they're fine with that. But everyone else, they need to be protected. Man, the funniest part of this story, though, was like I was saying earlier. Now that the tides are turning and the pendulum is swinging back the other way hard and fast, all of these regards that went all in with this ideology, they're gonna regret it. Some of them a lot more than others. Like some of them, it's just gonna cost them, work. It's gonna cost them money, cost them business. Others, they went like they were so deep in this toxic cult, they literally cut their balls off. And now they're going to realize that maybe it was just a phase. Maybe they made a mistake. And they're not going to get any sympathy because we're going to remember just how fucking evil they were. The office is effectively decreeing libertarian free speech absolutism as the fundamental principle for Step 1 universities, as it should be. They either adopt this or they lose their funding, in my opinion. In our view, the office is perpetuating the culture wars. Oh, yeah, you see, so another typical far-left tactic. Oh, well, there wouldn't be any violence if you just surrendered to us. The fact that you're resisting us, it's your fault the culture war is being perpetuated. The culture war would be over already if you just surrendered. They think we're as stupid as they are, and we don't notice this. She criticized the way a 3.5-year investigation was conducted. It said nobody employed by the university was interviewed. That's because all of you are brain-dead cultists. That's why. They know there's no point in even talking to you. Yeah, see, this is basically their argument, exactly. It wouldn't be struggle snuggle if you just lied down and took it. If you just accepted it, if you would just consent, this wouldn't be a struggle snuggle anymore. That's the left in a fucking nutshell. And the circumstances around Professor Stock's departure at the University of Sussex are deeply regrettable, she said. Yeah, that's all you got to say, huh? Sussex has consistently and publicly defended her right to pursue her academic work and to express her gender-critical beliefs. Yet, while you turn a blind eye to all these hate and harassment campaigns going after her, or even better, actively support them behind the scenes, oh, yeah, you're more than willing to give lip service. Oh, yeah, we support her right to free speech. But we're not going to do anything about all the hate groups going after her, though. They have a right to be hateful. She doesn't have the rights to be hateful back, though. Academic freedom and freedom of speech are the foundational elements of university, and university is committed to ensuring diversity in all its forms, particularly diversity of thought and identity, are able to flourish at Sussex. Fuck all of this shit. Let's just go back to Darwinism. If your idea cannot survive in the free market, your idea is fucking shit and it needs to die out. If your idea needs the government to force it on everybody because otherwise nobody would follow it, your idea is fucking shit and needs to be allowed to die. It's that fucking simple. If your idea was actually good, you wouldn't need to rely on the mafia to enforce it at gunpoint. And I'm glad that even the normies are starting to catch on to a lot of this. Some of them only because they personally were affected by it, but again, better late than never.